So we got the full summary for 1068 here. Not all of the dialogue, but pretty much every beat that's happening in this chapter. And we're finding out so much more than we did yesterday, which makes this chapter like so much more exciting. But let's just get right into it. Coming into this chapter, we see CP0 entering Egghead, and they're talking to Pythagoras Vegapunk here. And they ask him about the incidents where several Cypher Pole ships disappeared around Egghead Island. Pythagoras denies any involvement and insists that CP0 must leave. So that's interesting. We didn't know that before. I guess before Lucci and CP0 showed up, there was other Cypher Pole ships that were trying to go after Vegapunk, either to kill him or questioning or whatever maybe, but they were taken out. Now, either Vegapunk's lying and like the sea beast destroyed them, or they were taken out by like that warm eddy ocean phenomenon thing that disrupted the Straw Hats on their way to Egghead as well. Not really sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like that warm eddy thing, because that still needs to be explained. Lucci orders CP0 agents to prepare to abandon ship. Then they call S-Bear. That's how they call Seraphim Kuma, to use the powers of its Niku Niku no Mi to warp all of them to the island. After they left the warship, the sea beast weapon destroys the ship. So yeah, this is completely changing what we were talking about yesterday. Now we have much better context of what's going on. See, before I thought the whole S-Bear and the other S stuff was like referring to the sea beasts, but no, it's actually what the Seraphims are being called. S-Bear, Kuma, and as we'll find out what the rest of the S are called later on, they designate to each warlord that they're based off of. But it was also said yesterday that CP0 was being teleported to the island, and I thought that was just some Void Century reverse engineered Vegapunk tech that he was able to put into the Seraphims, and maybe they all could teleport. But no, it seems like Vegapunk successfully worked in Kuma's lineage factor from his devil fruit into this Seraphim. So now it could use it just the way that Kuma would, and it's warping CP0 to Egghead, just how Kuma used to use his ability on the Straw Hats back in Sabaody. And as for the sea beast destroying CP0's ship, I guess this means that they're like trapped there or stranded there for the time being. But in the end, I assumed that if they really needed to leave, they could just like airwalk for miles. In Kamabaka Queendom, real Kuma uses his power of his Niku Niku no Mi to warp away to an unknown destination. Okay, so we're getting a development on this as well. At the end of the previous chapter, we saw that the real Kuma like suddenly activated and started running somewhere, and it was like confusing the Revolutionary Army as well as the audience. And I was talking about this with Sai in our collab. It seems like he is straight up using his fruit here and warping himself to a location. It seems likely that he's going to go to Egghead, but it is possible he could go somewhere else. Given that we're in the Egghead Island arc, it would be better if he went there, but if he does go there, it's like, is he going there to protect Bonnie? Was that like a contingency that he put into himself, like in case she was in danger, he would somehow know it and go to protect her? Or is he going there to just protect Vegapunk? Or both of them? But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Ridge Wallet. So guys, I know a lot of you probably don't have the best wallet game right now, but that's where Ridge comes in. Ridge makes these awesome minimalistic slim wallets that also have RFID blocking. This is the matte black titanium version. So the Ridge Wallet holds up to 12 cards, and they easily slide in just like this. It's so smooth, and it has a little notch at the bottom to bring them out even smoother. It also has a cash strap on the back, easily put in your cash, and it stays secure. But Ridge also has key holders. Just like the Ridge wallet, this thing has a nice weight to it, super sturdy. This is the gunmetal version, and it just holds my keys like a dream, guys. I love this thing so much. It even holds my gym membership, which is awesome. But aside from what I have, they also have over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. The wallets also have over 50,000 five-star reviews. So guys, if you're interested in getting yourself a Ridge wallet and a key holder, check out the link in the description or go to ridge.com/bigz, because right now you're going to be able to save up to 40% through December 22nd. So again, that's ridge.com/bigz. Thanks guys. Back to Egghead Island, Vegapunk reveals to Luffy that his dream is to provide free energy to people all over the world, and that way eradicate wars for power resources. Vegapunk thinks that he can feel energy in nature, but as he gets close to discovering new energy source, his research brings him closer to the mysterious ancient energy. That's why he knows too much. He will soon be erased by the world government. That's why Vegapunk asked Luffy to bring him away. So yeah, it turns out that Vegapunk has a dream of his own, and he also wants Luffy to take him away from Egghead Island. So this is really interesting, right? Does this mean that Vegapunk is now a Straw Hat candidate? I mean, yeah, sure, there's plenty of Straw Hat candidates, but as we know, not everybody eventually becomes one, despite how much it seems like they will. And I don't think it's likely that Vegapunk will become a Straw Hat, but he certainly has some flags for that right now. I'm not even really sure if Vegapunk is going to completely survive this arc, to be honest. I really wouldn't be surprised if he dies at the end, but the energy source that he's talking about is in reference parts of what he was mentioning in the previous chapter. When talking about the ancient robot, Shaka says that he built Vegaforce 1, his own robot, using the ancient robot as a guide. But there are aspects of it that even he can't replicate, which is its dynamic power source. Because in the past, they had power strong enough to rewrite everything they know about the world today. So yeah, it turns out in the Void Century, not only did they have this crazy tech, but they also had this insane energy source as well, which I guess isn't a thing today. And as Vegapunk gets closer to figuring out how to make it or what it truly is, he has to go into Void Century stuff. And obviously that's like the big no-no of this world. And as he gets closer to it, Emu and the world government are aware of that. So they're like, hey, can't do that. We're going to take you out now. Luffy says, yes, we'll help you. Your head is funny. Vegapunk is very happy. He says he will go packing with all he needs. Vegapunk tells Luffy that they will meet at the top floor and to bring Bonnie there. Then Vegapunk warps away. CP0 arrives to Egghead Island. Vegapunk's defense system appears and starts to fight CP0. Nami and her group are watching what's happening in the monitor. Shaka orders to release S-Snake, S-Hawk, and S-Shark, and then he gives control authority to Sentomaru. We can see Sentomaru's image, but the chapter doesn't confirm if he's actually on the island. So yeah, this is the other thing that I was talking about. S-Snake, S-Hawk, S-Shark. These are the Seraphims, not the Sea Beasts like I originally thought. S-Snake referring to Hancock, S-Hawk referring to Mihawk, and S-Shark referring to Jinbei. So I guess they're going to be fighting against CP0 here, but their control authority has been given to Sentomaru, character we haven't seen for a very long time. He's the guy from Sabaody who was like commanding the pacifistas, but he was also said to be the bodyguard of Vegapunk, as well as like the captain of the science unit, but I think he eventually just became like an officer in the Marines. But I don't know if he necessarily is still Vegapunk's bodyguard. I mean, I guess he still is if Shaka is giving control of the Seraphims to him. So I don't know if he's controlling them remotely or if he is actually on Egghead. I'd really like to see like what he winds up doing in this situation. Like, is he going to help Vegapunk or is he just going to side with CP0 and then give them control of the Seraphims, which seems more likely, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if Sentomaru has like a face turn in it. But either way, I do think that the Seraphims are going to become subservient to CP0 the way that Kuma is, because they kind of need to be on CP0's side given how strong the Straw Hats are at this point. We could see CP0 exploring Egghead Island during 2 to 3 pages of this chapter. Stussy knows all the details about the island. She says it brings back memories. Kaku is very excited and runs into some laser traps. Stussy knows the traps but doesn't warn Kaku. Okay, so that's super interesting. Stussy has a history with Egghead Island, which we obviously didn't know before. We don't really know much about Stussy other than she's just a part of CP0. I don't want to dig too deep into this, but I guess it's a possibility that she's Vegapunk's daughter, right? Not saying it's concrete or anything, just throwing stuff out there, but it seems like it could be a thing, right? Atlas appears and attacks Lucci. Shaka tries to tell her to stop, but Lucci uses the Roku Ogan on Atlas, cracking her head and destroying Atlas completely. It seems Atlas is still alive, but half of Atlas's face is broken. So yeah, we went over this yesterday. When Lucci gets in there, Atlas starts going after him and he just one-shots her with the Roku Ogan. And there was some spoilers that was saying that she was completely dead, but I guess she's not. I guess she's still hanging on here, but she's like pretty much done for the most part. And again, I don't know if this is like a good indicator of how strong Lucci is completely, because while Atlas did have like a tussle with Luffy, like he punched her and it didn't really do anything, and then she punched him and sent him flying, but that sequence wasn't really meant for us to gauge like accurate power levels or anything. It was kind of just like a throwaway sequence. If anything, maybe just telling us that Atlas isn't a chump. But regardless, I do think Lucci is very powerful right now. I mean, he's not like Yonko level or anything, but I do think he could probably be like a Yonko commander. I mean, he kind of has to be to make the stakes interesting, because if he's just like a weakling, then like what's the point of all of this? Especially what's happening next here, because at the end of the chapter, we see Luffy and his group carrying Bonnie. Suddenly they come across Lucci and CP0. Lucci says Straw Hat and Luffy says the pigeon guy. So yeah, they're finally meeting here, and at first it seems like, oh, we're gonna get into the rematch. Luffy versus Lucci, it's going down. And I hope it does, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it like doesn't. Like something might happen to either separate them or for Lucci to get some advantage here in some way. And also if they do fight, I know you're automatically thinking, well, Luffy's just gonna wash him completely, because on paper he should, right? Gear 5 should completely destroy Lucci. I mean, he defeated Kaido after all. But if it does come to that point, I think Luffy might not be able to use Gear 5 just like instantly yet. Maybe there's some kind of trick to it that he hasn't fully mastered yet, or he still needs some training or needs more time to figure it out. I mean, he could just instantly go into it. I mean, he hasn't gone into Gear 5 since he fought Kaido, so we don't really know the logistics of it yet, but it just seems like it would be too easy, you know what I mean? So I think that there's going to be some foil here for Luffy, where Lucci will gain some advantage, possibly with some kind of ability that he has, or the Seraphims come to his aid and he has like 4 Seraphims fighting with him. That would be a pretty interesting fight, right? Lucci with 4 Seraphims taking on Luffy. Luffy. That would be like overkill, I think, if Luffy can't use Gear 5, but we'll see what happens. Let me know what you thought about these spoilers in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.